I'm losing this case. You know why I'm losing this case? Because my f***ing client is f***ing lying to me. Everybody thinks you did this. Everybody. I don't f***ing believe you.
Told you.
You did it. You killed him. You're so full of shit. You did it, didn't you?
You little sissy, you make me sick. Hey, this is my cell, Jack. Who the f*** are you?
The film is set in Chicago, with a successful and cocky defense attorney named Martin Vail, who's being questioned by a journalist for an article. He does so while getting dressed for an event. His busy schedule requires him to multitask. Before leaving, he reschedules the follow-up for the interview and ensures that it's going to be a cover story. Martin is attending a black tie event for a Catholic charity, hosted by the Chicago Bar Association. Many law practitioners are attending, including the state's district attorney, Jon Shaughnessy. Martin approaches Jon to arrange a settlement deal on the case they're working on tomorrow. He then approaches a beautiful woman who's trying to smoke by the bar, Janet Venable. The tension between the two suggests that they have a romantic history, but Janet shuts down Martin's attempt at seducing her.
Thanks for the invite, but I don't like one-night stands all that much.
On the podium, Archbishop Rushman of the Chicago Catholic Church is giving a speech. He seems to be loved by everyone attending the ball. In the DA's office the following day, Martin attends the meeting he arranged with Jon, along with another member of the Chicago DA, Yancy. Martin wants a $1.5 million settlement from the state because his client, Joey Pinero, was stabbed and left to die by the police. Yancy doesn't want to cut this deal because he thinks that Joey is a mobster criminal, but as the DA in charge, Jon agrees to the amount. However, he wants Joey to leave the state, despite being unable to legally enforce it. Martin then visits Joey Pinero's bar to give him the good news. However, Martin refuses to leave Chicago because he thinks he's protecting the lower-income local community from being victims of gentrification. Martin warns Joey that the police, who has been harassing him in hopes that he testifies against another Latino gang's leader, will try to kill him again.
I respect your advice, Marty, but I can't take it.
Meanwhile, in his home, Archbishop Rushman is getting ready when he is suddenly attacked with a knife. Outside his house, a mailman sees the windows shattering from the brawl happening inside. The police are quick to contain the scene of Rushman's murder, inspecting the scene of the crime. Detectives are inspecting the body, finding the term B32.156 carved on the chest using a knife. At the same time, some officers notice a man running away in bloodied clothes. The young man leads many officers into a wild chase on foot, even gaining some distance by narrowly running through an oncoming train. Eventually, when the police find him, he is curled up under the train tracks in a tunnel. In a bar, Martin is continuing his interview with the journalist when he spots the live coverage of the chase for Archbishop Rushman's suspected killer. Once the young man is arrested, Martin hurriedly calls his assistant to ensure that he gets to represent the suspect pro bono. Martin definitely wants all the publicity this case is going to get. He immediately visits the suspect, a 19-year-old named Aaron Stampler, in jail. Martin introduces himself as a big-shot lawyer who will represent Aaron's case for free. The kid doesn't seem like he's capable of murder at all. He's meek and soft-spoken with a stammer. When asked, Aaron denies that he's the killer, saying that he went to the Archbishop's house to return a borrowed book. He heard loud noises coming from the bedroom, and upon investigating, he saw that Rushman was already dead and a figure was standing above the body. Aaron claims he doesn't remember what happened afterwards due to the amnesia spells he sometimes gets. When he came to, there was blood all over him and he ran away in panic. Martin is still suspicious, but there doesn't seem to be any motive for Aaron to kill the person who, by his own words, had been so generous to him by saving him from homelessness and letting him become an altar boy.
Dislike? No. He was like a father to me.
The next day, Martin arrives in his office with the not-so-savory news that they're taking Aaron's case. Martin's paralegal Goodman thinks that it's a career suicide because everyone loves Archbishop Rushman, and they all think Aaron is the killer. However, Martin says he actually believes Aaron's story. He says he's chasing a third-person angle, following Aaron's statement about the shadowy figure that he saw. He instructs his secretary, Naomi, to find a psychiatrist to evaluate Aaron. He also wants to look into B32.156 and Rushman's private information. In the DA's office, Yancy instructs Janet to become the prosecutor for Aaron's case. Jon, who is the DA, cannot become the prosecutor due to his close relationship with Rushman prior to his death. Jon says that he wants Aaron to receive the death penalty, since it's an open and shut case. However, Janet doesn't believe that this case is going to be that simple, especially once she learns that her ex-lover is representing Aaron. The two meet again when Martin heads to the scene of the crime to gather more clues. Their snarky back-and-forth reveals that Martin used to work for the DA's office under Jon, but he quit, and he doesn't understand why Janet still works for Jon. She claims that Martin only left to feed his own ego and greed.
Quit just because you did? I don't need to see my face on the evening news.
After seeing the chaotic crime scene with his own eyes, Martin visits Aaron in prison before the first trial begins. He instructs the kid to look innocent in court and to not say anything without his permission.
I am innocent.
That's exactly how I want you to look.
On the day of the trial, Martin talks to the press in a way that paints Aaron as another victim. The presiding judge Shoat enters the courtroom, and Janet reads the prosecutor's plea to charge Aaron for first-degree murder. Judge Shoat asks Aaron if he understands the charges brought against him, but before he can answer clearly, Martin directs him to plead the fifth, meaning he won't answer any questions posed to him until he completes his psychiatric evaluation. That night, Goodman comes to the motel where Aaron has been staying in to look for clues. He is ambushed by a young man, and during the brawl, Goodman manages to yank off his earring. Martin brings the earring to his next meeting with Aaron. Aaron says that it belongs to another altar boy named Alex, who tends to have a temper. Martin wants to know if Alex could be the mysterious figure who killed Rushman, but Aaron doesn't think so. Martin also shows him a picture of a girl named Linda, whom Aaron says also lived in the orphanage, but she's been missing and he doesn't know where she went. Sometime later, Martin manages to hire a psychiatrist named Molly Arrington to evaluate Aaron's mental condition. She says she will examine Aaron thoroughly, but won't lie to the court. She brings a camcorder to her first session with Aaron in the prison. Aaron admits that he often has episodes where he would lose time and memory of what happened, which first began when he was 12. He also indicates that he was neglected and abused by his father after his mother's early death, and he didn't seek treatment because they were poor. Before the next trial, Martin pulls Janet aside during her lunch break to ask about her discoveries. She seems to think they have a great case against Aaron, and thinks that Aaron is only acting meek because Martin instructed him to. However, Martin says that a young man's life is on the line.
We're not just talking about jail here. It's about ending someone's life.
While the ex-lovers continue their professional quarrel in court, Molly goes on with her recorded evaluation with Aaron. She asks about Linda, whom Aaron thinks as his girlfriend, but it causes him to get upset. Meanwhile, Martin is looking through investments made by Rushman and finds that both Rushman and John Shaughnessy are principal investors in the South River Development Corporation. He meets with Joey and his friend, another gang leader named Alderman, to walk along South River, which is the neighborhood the gangsters are trying to protect from gentrification. Alderman says that after he confronted the archbishop about his foundation's developments causing poor people to be homeless, Rushman stops all of the projects around the area. Martin speculates that John, as an investor, has motive to kill Rushman, and he wants Alderman to be a witness in the case if needed. Later, Martin is invited to a meal with John. John wants to talk about why Joey Pinero hasn't left the state as per their agreement, but there's another issue to talk about. He warns Martin to not mess with him nor the powerful people of Chicago, but the attorney doesn't seem fazed, instead making a snide remark about John's losses with the South River development.
Let me tell you something. Do not f*** with me, Marty.
Eventually, the court proceeds the trial by jury. Janet tries to present her case by painting Aaron as a cold-hearted murdered, while Martin tells the jury about Rushman's investments and how it caused big losses for some important people. He also follows up by saying that the prosecutors don't have the motive for Aaron to kill Rushman. When questioning the forensic expert and the medical examiner, Janet's questions point Aaron as the primary suspect, while Martin's questions suggest that there's a third person who actually did the murder. On the stand, a captain of the police department talks about the line B32.156 that was carved on Rushman's body. They found that it refers to a book stored in Rushman's private library, The Scarlet Letter, specifically an underlined passage that says something about a person being two-faced.
No man can wear one face to himself and another to the multitude.
What does that passage mean to you, Captain?
Objection.
Upset, Martin asks Aaron if he did indeed underline that passage of the book. Aaron says no, he hasn't ever read the book, let alone underline it. Even Martin's employees are getting the brunt of his nerves. He wants them to find a new clue or discovery for the next court session in 2 days.
We have to at least consider the possibility that he did it.
In another session with Aaron, Molly continues to dig into his relationship with Linda. He feels uncomfortable with the topic, and when Molly continues to push, he experiences a bad headache. Molly tries to fix the beeping camera, asking Aaron about it in a lighthearted way, but Aaron's demeanor suddenly changes.
Well, how the fuck should I know?
After a minute, he returns to the normal, meek Aaron.
What? What was you saying?
Meanwhile, Goodman and Martin decides to investigate Alex, the kid who ambushed Goodman in Aaron's room. When Alex spots the two men, he immediately bolts, sending them into a long chase. His trail ends in an abandoned building which homeless people use as shelter. They eventually find him, and after Goodman points a gun at him, he relents. Alex says he was in Aaron's room to look for a tape of him, Linda, and Aaron having sex. He says Archbishop Rushman makes them record lewd tapes, saying it's a ritual for purging the devil. There's only one tape which Rushman keeps recording over, and Alex was planning to trash it. Shocked by the information, Martin immediately heads to the crime scene to look for the tape. Upon finding it, he removes the label and exchanges it with another tape that he had brought. His whole office watches the tape, which begins innocently with a sermon from the Archbishop, before cutting into the older man directing the children on what to do sexually. Martin heads to the prison where Aaron is having another session with Molly. He interrupts the session, saying that he needs to talk alone with Aaron. Martin berates Aaron, saying that he's losing this case because Aaron is lying to him. He finally says that he saw the tape, which causes Aaron to panic and bang his head on the wall. As Martin keeps yelling, Aaron suddenly starts talking to himself, as if he's another person. His personality shifts again, turning into a brash and cocky person.
Pulling that tough guy shit on Aaron again, I will kick your fucking ass to Sunday.
Martin is confused, but he plays along. This version of Aaron calls himself Roy, and he says he only comes out if Aaron is in trouble and begs for Roy's help. Roy also admits that he had killed Rushman because Aaron keeps whining about the abuse, finally solving the mystery for Martin. He talks badly about Linda, and when he figures out that Martin has seen the tape, he punches the lawyer. Molly tries to interrupt, but Martin keeps holding her back, wanting to get more information from Roy until he finally switches back into the meek Aaron. After the tense encounter, Martin sits down to talk with Molly about the situation. Molly says that Aaron most likely has multiple personality disorder, which may be caused by the abuses he endured since childhood. They both think that Aaron is an ill child who needs help. Martin is so conflicted that he calls the journalist to drink with him at the bar, talking about how he doesn't become an attorney just for the fame.
I believe in the notion that people are innocent until proven guilty.
Martin also admits that he quit the DA's office because he did something very bad and probably illegal under Jon's orders, which he didn't enjoy doing. Before leaving, he tells the journalist not to publish anything he said. Back in his office, Martin admits that he's wrong for thinking that Aaron is completely innocent. However, he's still determined to help Aaron avoid the death penalty. So Martin decides that he's going to still pursue the third-person defense. But this time, the third person is Roy. He's going to introduce Aaron's traumatic past to the jury by submitting the lewd tape as evidence, but he needs Janet to be the one who submits it. Goodman drops off the tape on Janet's front door anonymously, but she instantly knows who sent it anyway. She calls Martin to meet at their regular bar, saying that she knows Martin only wants her to submit the tape to avoid the negative sentiment from the jury. Martin knows she needs to submit the tape to prove motive, but she denies, saying she has a different motive. In her office, Jon suggests that she doesn't use the tape if she doesn't want to lose her job. During the next court trial, Janet calls Goodman to the stand, forcing him to admit that he delivered the tape to her house. Martin lets Goodman reveal the truth, and then Janet officially submits the tape as evidence. While she describes how the tape reveals Aaron's motive to kill Rushman, she also reveals to the jury that Aaron was subjected to the abuse, which is what Martin wants. Sometime later, when Martin is watching Aaron's sessions with Molly, he receives a call. It turns out that the police had discovered Joey Pinero's body in the river. Martin knows that this is Jon's doing, so during the following court trial, he calls Jon to the stand. He questions Jon to reveal about his corruption in South River, his collusion to ignore reports regarding Archbishop Rushman's sexual assaults, and suggesting that Jon has motive to kill Rushman.
50 million reasons to kill him.
Judge Shoat stops the questioning and talks privately with Martin in her office. She doesn't want her courtroom to be used for personal revenge by Martin, so she's fining him for $10,000. The next witness to be questioned is Molly, who explains that Aaron is exhibiting textbook multiple personality disorder traits. Martin's questions lead Molly to say that it's possible for Aaron's alternate personality, Roy, to have killed Rushman without Aaron's knowledge or intent. Both Janet and Judge Shoat disapproves of Martin's line of questioning, But the jury has heard Molly's opinion anyway. During her turn to question Molly, Janet attempts to discredit her theory that Aaron was unaware of and cannot control his alternate's actions to kill Rushman. She also establishes that there's no video proof of Aaron changing into Roy and vice versa, despite both Molly and Martin claiming that they've seen it happen. Finally, it's time for Aaron to be called to the stand. Martin gets to question him first, and he approaches Aaron in an attempt to coax Roy to appear in front of the whole court. Martin continues to question Aaron about his relationship with Rushman.
Was like a father to me. I loved him very much.
However, with Martin pressing questions about Linda and the tapes, he gets more and more uncomfortable. Aaron also claims that he doesn't know anyone named Roy, and he doesn't remember punching Martin in prison. Now it's Janet's turn to question Aaron. She berates him heavily, using a high tone to underline every bad thing that Rushman has done to Aaron, and how she would have killed him too if she was in Aaron's shoes.
He forced you with no heat and no water and no food. Do you know what I would do if someone did that to me? I would kill him. I wouldn't hesitate.
No.
I would gouge out his eyes, I swear to God.
However, once she's done, Aaron suddenly shifts into Roy.
Further questions, Your Honor.
Where the hell do you think you're going?
Excuse me?
Hey, you look at me when I'm talking to you, bitch. Come here, you want to play rough? Let's play rough.
In the chaos, Roy holds Janet hostage, threatening to break her neck. Janet is eventually freed as Roy gets subdued, cuffed, and returned to the cell. The scene is shocking, and afterwards, Judge Shoat invites both Janet and Martin into her office. She says that she will claim a mistrial if Janet doesn't want to pursue the case anymore, and she doesn't. Nobody in the DA's office would want to take over this case. So, Shoat will dismiss the jury and hold a bench trial for an insanity plea, and Aaron will most likely be placed in a psych ward until he's determined fit to return to society. Once Judge Shoat leaves her office, Martin apologizes and tries to comfort Janet, who knows that her career in the DA's office has ended. She's upset at him, but they both still hold affection for one another. Before leaving, Martin visits Aaron in his cell to relay the good news.
They've agreed to stop the trial. They're going to be sending you to a hospital. You can get the help you need.
I don't know what to say, Mr. Vail. You saved my life.
Aaron seems happy and thankful, while Martin even gives the kid a hug and tells him to call from the ward if he ever needed help. Before leaving, Aaron tells Martin to relay his apology for hurting Janet earlier.
Tell her I hope her neck is okay.
Martin pauses because Aaron claims that he doesn't remember anything when Roy takes over.
You told me you don't remember. You black out. So how do you know about her neck?
Well, good for you, Marty.
It turns out that the multiple personality disorder was a lie, and all this time, Aaron has been acting. He killed Linda and Rushman consciously, and there never was another personality.
You are really good.
Yeah, I did get caught though, didn't I? There never was an Aaron. Come on, Marty, I thought you had it figured there at the end. Jesus, I knew exactly what you wanted from me. It was like we were dancing, Marty. We did it, man. We fucking did it. Just feeling a little anger here because you started to care about old Aaron. I can understand that, but...
The movie ends with Martin walking away from the cell and towards his car, in a daze because he realizes he had just helped an actual cold-blooded murderer avoid his sentence.